I'm Mykela Heidel. I am 21 years old, and I was 10 years old when I had my first encounter with the Holy Spirit. It was at Praise Community Church. Brian Connolly was speaking that night on the Holy Spirit, and it was a super powerful night for our church. So that night, like I said, was super powerful. People were getting touched by the Holy Spirit in ways that I had never seen before. I had never seen the way the Holy Spirit worked before prior to that, and people were just being really ministered to. There was a lot of tears, a lot of joy, people dancing, people singing. And for me personally, I was kind of sitting in the back because I was kind of trying to figure out what all this was meaning and what it meant for me. And I kind of was looking around and seeing what was going on, and I started to see just a very distinct black and white color on people. And the best way that I can describe it is it's like a fog. Like if you've ever gone to a concert before and they have like a fog machine on the stage, it's kind of like that consistency, but it's a very distinct black and a very distinct white color. And they don't intermix, but there can be white in one person and black in the same person, so they can be together, but they never mix together the colors. But I started to see this, and it was just kind of weird to me. I didn't really know how to explain it. So I went up to my dad, who was sitting on the edge of the stage here at the church, and I was kind of trying to figure out what was going on, and I was like, so what's this black and white stuff in people that I'm seeing? And he was like, is that common? And he was like, he kind of looked at me like, what are you talking about? And I was like, this black and white stuff that I'm seeing, what is it? And he was like, I think that you're experiencing something spiritually. And so he took me over to our pastor, Pastor Adam Bauer, and I talked to him and explained to him what was going on. And he was like, I don't know what to do with you, so I'm going to give you to Brian Connolly. And so he took me over to Brian, who was ministering to someone at the time. And Brian asked me if I was seeing anything in the person we were ministering to. And I did. I saw a lot of the black fog that I was seeing, and it was around, the best way that I can describe it is around their heart area, on their chest. And I was seeing this black stuff. And as Brian was praying for this person, the black stuff was flowing out of their body. It was flowing downwards out of their body. And the person was leaning against the wall, so it was kind of flowing out and then just kind of dispersing in the air. And so we kept praying, and Brian kept asking me, are you seeing anything else? Are you seeing anything more? And it just kept coming out and flowing out of his body. And there was a point where all of the black stuff had left. It had all gone out of his body. And as soon as I said, okay, it's all out, the person we were ministering to just let out this enormous scream of freedom. It was probably one of the most beautiful things I'd ever seen, of just genuine freedom, and this person was not bound to the chains that they were being held in anymore. And then almost immediately after all of the black left his body, the white fog that I was seeing in some people was flowing back into his body and was going around his heart. And there was an amount of peace there that I'd never experienced before. It's almost hard to explain, but it was just a really, really powerful experience. After this encounter, a lot changed for me in my life. I was able to see people in a different way that I hadn't been able to. I was able to give people more grace, because for me, the black represents, it's more than just sin to me. I think it's pain that people have held on to, tragedies that they've experienced, and the black we allow that to sit on our heart for a while, and I think it just festers and it just kind of sits there. And that's what that represents to me. So when I see people that have black on their heart, I don't necessarily see it as sin. I see it as the pain that they've experienced, and they're living out of that pain. And so I was able to give people a lot more grace and understanding that they're human beings. They've experienced a lot of things, and they're living out of, if they do something to me that I might not like, it's not personal. it's probably because they're living out of something that they've experienced themselves. Some other things that I've experienced after that was just I was able to love people more, have more hope for people, because I saw the black physically leaving someone, and that gave me hope for other people, and I was able to look at other people and say, hey, there's hope for you, you can come out of that. Something that I learned during the encounter was the Lord can move through any person. He can move through a 10-year-old girl, he can move through an 80-year-old man. It doesn't matter. He works through all of his people, and childlike faith is beautiful to him. So I think that's part of the reason why he gave me that gift, is because I had faith in him, and he wanted to give me something that he wanted to give me. I don't know, that he just wanted to show his love to me in a way that I hadn't experienced yet. My view of myself definitely changed, my identity. I saw myself as someone who had the power of the Holy Spirit now, and I was able to go out and be more bold, and I wasn't just this shy little 10-year-old girl anymore. I was able to kind of break out of that bubble a little bit, and it was an experience that definitely gave me a lot of confidence in the Lord, and not just relying on myself, but relying on the Holy Spirit to lead me and guide me. My view of the Holy Spirit has also changed out of that as well. Like I said, it was the first encounter I'd ever had with the Holy Spirit, and so it kind of paved the way for future encounters that I had, and I was able to view the Holy Spirit as someone that's loving, and that's kind, and that is merciful, and fills people with hope and joy, and it definitely kind of set the stage for how the Holy Spirit was going to work in my future. The encounter has impacted me in various ways still today, and I still have the gift. I still use it sometimes. An encounter or experience that I did have in Brazil when I went on a Brazil missions trip. Again, I was with Connolly, and we were praying for someone, and I was able to use the gifts, and the person we were praying for received hearing. He was deaf, partly deaf, and so he received part of his hearing back. And it was a super powerful experience. I actually saw like the black around his ears, and we were able to pinpoint like just different things in his life that he needed to let go of, and out of that experience he received back part of his hearing back. So I still use this gift today, and it's definitely impacted me for probably the rest of my life. If there were one word that I could describe that encounter and just how God blessed me that night, it would just probably be love. That was probably the most loving thing that I had ever experienced, and I don't know, it was just, it revealed to me that God sees me, that he cares about me, that he loves me, and that he chose me to give this gift to. And when you sit back and you think about that, it's amazing to think that the God of the universe sees you, and he picks you, and he knows who you are. It's just a truly, truly beautiful thing. During that experience, I was definitely feeling kind of like a little bit shaky, almost like the nervous shaky that you get a little bit, but it wasn't a bad nervous, it was like excited nervous. And I was definitely feeling like power just kind of like flowing through my body, and I didn't really have like any kind of dramatic like encounter, but I could definitely feel just peace and the presence of the Lord just resting on the room. And it was definitely a powerful experience. For those of you who may be watching this that are kind of hesitant around the Holy Spirit and maybe feel like you're not sure what that means for you personally, or what it means for the church at large, I would just challenge you to say, don't put the Lord in a box. Don't put the Holy Spirit in a box. Like I said earlier, He can move through anyone that He wants to, and He sent the Holy Spirit for us for multiple reasons, and I believe it's a blessing and a gift to be able to receive the Holy Spirit, and just be open to it, and be encouraged by it, because it's truly a blessing that we are able to have the Holy Spirit in our lives.
So last question, Mykela, are you hungry for more?
Absolutely, I'm definitely hungry for more, and I'm ready for wherever the Lord's taking us as a church and as me and as an individual, I'm excited to see where God's going to take us from this.